you know what? How original can you get when you grow a business? Through storytelling and an incredible sense of humor, Cathy has raised the level of awareness about environmental conservation. Her thought-provoking style of speaking has inspired over 75,000 students to action. Cathy's been featured in a variety of media, including print, television, and radio, and she's also the subject of a documentary film which is called Squirm, the Cathy's Crawley Composter's Story. And I first met Cathy when we were at Green Connections, and I was sitting beside her, and she was telling me about laughter yoga. And she just laughed, and I laughed. And then she laughed, and I laughed, and I felt smarter because my head got clear because all the oxygen was coming in. So I think you're all in for a treat. It's my pleasure to introduce Cathy Nesbitt of Cathy's Crawlers.
Thank you. So fun. Okay, well, I don't know if I can stand still to talk, but let's see what I can do. So have you ever had an idea that got you all fired up, like you weren't even sure, you couldn't think of anything else, your body was all tingling, heart pounding? It was like you got a download from the universe. It just felt right. And at a certain point, you just knew what to do, and you couldn't wait to get started. So what happened? Did you do it? Probably not. Most people get an idea and then start pondering it, and after short order, they talk themselves out of it. You know, the voice in your head? We often get in our own way and make excuses about why not to take action. Not enough time, not enough money, I need more information. On and on the list goes. I had an idea once. It was an idea that would have a really big impact. For 16 years, I've been touting the virtues of indoor composting with worms to convert food scraps and paper into nature's finest fertilizer. The solution to the garbage crisis is several solutions, one of which is worm composting. In 2002, the Keel Valley landfill closed and we started shipping garbage to Michigan. Almost 200 garbage trucks daily going to Michigan. Can you imagine? The Keel Valley landfill served the Greater Toronto Area. 6 million people, half living in condos, townhouses without space to do outdoor composting. Oh, and before the green bin, by the way. Which, well, don't get me on that. Now I've lost my way. That's not true. No, just laugh. There was a garbage strike in 2002. It was a big year for garbage. As I was watching the news one evening, I saw that there was a 3-hour wait to drop off garbage. I thought, those people don't compost. You see, composting takes the stink out of garbage, so if they composted, surely they would have something better to do than wait for 3 hours to drop off their garbage. But I thought, what a great opportunity to raise awareness. So I decided to go on a road trip. I chose media as my marketing strategy for business, so before heading out on my great adventure, I sent press releases to the Toronto media outlets. I received a call from the Toronto Star, and the reporter thanked me for my press release, for he had written an article about composting, but forgot about the apartment dwellers. He invited me down to the Star to be interviewed. Yay, that's what I wanted. I could have just skipped going to the transfer station, but I really wanted to know why people didn't compost. As I arrived at the transfer station where several hundred people had gathered, picketers had gathered, I noticed that somebody was recording the event. I learned that he was a private investigator hired in case there was any violence. And I think there may have been violence if he wasn't recording. It was a pretty angry mob. Tension was high. I approached the cars with a few questions. Do you compost? Why not? Would you? The angry mob shouted insults at me, and they said I couldn't be there and that I should leave. And somehow, I'm not sure how, I really don't know how, I mustered the courage to stand in my power and say I had every right to be there. It was a private road, or just a road. And I continued approaching the cars. And then the leader of the pack said, if you talk to this woman or you take anything from her, we're not going to allow you to drop off your garbage. People rolled up their windows. Well, they probably did this. Nobody would speak to me, so I went to the Star, and received my first article in the Toronto Star July 18th, 2002. As an entrepreneur, it's essential that we be able to tell our stories. However, we know that public speaking can be fear-inducing for even the most confident. I know some of you are stressed just thinking about it. In 2004, I was invited to speak at the Toronto Condo Show at the Metro Convention Centre. Remember, indoor composting is the perfect solution for apartment dwellers and their wet waste. Whew, public speaking. So the lineup of speakers included the usual fire and safety, insurance, and the like. I thought for sure for my topic, all 80 seats would be filled with people wanting to learn something new and beneficial. But when it came time to be introduced, oh my gosh, nobody was in the audience. Not one person. Oh, nobody wanted to hear my important message. Oh, the MC didn't know what to do. She looked back at the empty seats, back at me. She said, "I'll be back in a minute," and she dashed off. Holy cow, talk about fear. I was all in my head. Oh my gosh, what do I do? I was so afraid, and really, if I wasn't wearing my branded company t-shirt, I may well have just dashed from the place. Nobody wanted to hear my message. But then I thought, wait a minute. I've never used a microphone to speak before. This will be great experience. So I decided I'm doing this, and I got ready to do it. So when the MC came back, there was 3 people in the audience. 3 people. Yes, they were vendors having their dinner, but I had an audience. So I turned to my husband and I said, "Can you confirm my volume? You know, not too loud, not too soft." So as I started speaking, I was talking as if it was standing room only. Describing everything I was doing, everything I was holding up, so that the people at the back of my imaginary audience could follow along if they couldn't see me. Fun. At the end of my talk, as I was walking through the aisles, people came up to me and said, "Wow, what a great talk, that was so interesting." And I turned to Rick, and it was at that moment that he confessed that because it was actually so loud, the whole place had heard it. Woo, what? And because it was so loud and the whole place heard it, I made several business contacts that day. Sometimes in life, it's important to be uncomfortable, for it's just beyond the discomfort where the magic happens. I returned home one day to a missed call from Mark Murphy at Town & Country, Ontario, a TV show. Oh no, missed media opportunity. But I called back right away. And Mark said, "Congratulations, you'll be the last segment on Town & Country, Ontario of the season." We left 7 calls for potential guests, and the first person to call back would be the lucky recipient. Me! They spent 4 hours in my backyard recording, and because of my take action, spontaneous approach, I now have a 7-minute professional video that repeated 3 years in a row on TV and is still available on my website. Thanks, YouTube. Fun. You know, selling worms by the pound isn't as easy as it sounds. Thank you for the laugh. I know it's not easy. Some people are afraid of worms, and they actually say mean things. As an empath, I feel everything. So, as a coping mechanism, and really to frankly just help me continue doing my great work, I added laughter yoga to my repertoire. Laughter for no reason, so fun. It's not about fancy pants or poses. It's laughter for no reason. We've all heard that laughter is the best medicine. It truly is. For many reasons. Most importantly, that it oxygenates our body. Joy juice being sent through our body as we laugh. So fun. Have you ever laughed or remember the last time that you laughed and your stomach was hurting, maybe your cheeks were hurting? Those are the laughter muscles. It's a cardiovascular workout. Fun. Remember how you felt? Yeah, laugh more. So fun. Where was I? Oh yeah, did you know that, sorry, I lost my way again. Did you know that the brain requires 25% more oxygen than the rest of our body? When we're stressed, we're not even breathing properly, so our body's not getting what it needs. For sure, our brain isn't. When we're afraid, we're stuck in our head. Laughter. So how can our brain come up with answers when it's literally being deprived of oxygen? laughter helps us get us out of our head into our body so we can come up with heart-filled, loving solutions and have the energy to carry them out. William James once said, "We don't laugh because we're happy. We're happy because we laugh." I encourage you to be an opportunist. Take more action. Laugh more for no reason. The world needs more leaders and inspired ideas. What's holding you back? Thank you.